Hey guys, as you know, when it comes to action RPG games, I am always the most interested about builds, especially if the game allows for some really weird builds. So in this video I want to show you a new action RPG. It is still in early access and I have tried it in the past and recently returned to this game, and it's called the Slormancer and I'm having a blast. So I want to talk about this game, what is cool about it and how it is similar to or different to other games like Diablo 3, Path of Exile or Last Epoch. So, first of all, the story currently has 3 acts, and it took me around 8 hours to go through it, but I was streaming and chilling, learning about the game. Story, by the way, is pretty funny, and it is one of those light-hearted games with funny descriptions, quotes from popular movies and weird skills. Another thing about this is that you do not need to repeat the campaign if you want to try a different character. You can just switch characters in town. They have certain things that are shared, like story and unlockable things that you gain through the story, but each character has their own levels. There are 3 classes and each class has 3 subclasses, which can be switched on the fly. However, the way build works are a bit different. I'm gonna talk about that a bit later. For now, I want to mention some other features. After story is done, you can repeat zones with other classes if you like, or you can do wrath levels, which essentially is like rift system. Well, you literally need to close breaches. Then there is temple, which I call endless tower, although I'm not sure if it is actually endless. To enter this temple you need to fill Elder Slorm, which you get by defeating champion monsters. This is sort of like Delve in Path of Exile, but it also gives you access to certain upgrades to help with the temple grind. The incentive to grind these things are weapons and skill XP, and other equipments of course. Now briefly about crafting, which reminds me of Last Epoch crafting system, although it has been a while since I last time played Last Epoch. But when it comes to crafting, you can lock mods, reroll, normal, rare, epic mods, add higher tier mods, add all sorts of enhancement mods. So crafting feels pretty deterministic with a bit of RNG when it comes to rerolling or adding new mods. Each level you also get +1 attribute, which are not shared between all characters, but attributes give all sorts of passive things and some conditional trigger things like damage, armor, mana, life, gold fine, etc. You can also craft attributes on equipments. It reminds me a bit of Lost Ark engraving system because every 5th attribute unlocks some bigger bonuses. Then there is Ancestral Legacy, sort of like passive skill tree in Path of Exile, which has either generic damage passives or auras, or some other skills. So essentially it's not necessarily a passive skill tree, but I'm still gonna call it passive skill tree. This game also has simple loot filter. It auto dismantles items that you hide and you can select which mods you want to highlight. If the item drops and it doesn't have certain mods that you highlighted, then you can make those items auto dismantle. Very simple, very convenient. Items can also be upgraded +1, +2, +3 and so on. But to do that you must go fight monsters to fill up the potential on that item. Then come back to town to upgrade them. I like that this encourages farming monsters. Now on to the fun part, builds. And I need to talk about a couple things at once. Weapons in this game are called Slorm Reapers. These Reapers you must find by closing breaches or by progressing in the temple. These Reaper weapons also level up as you use them. Some of them can evolve, and I was told you need like 42,000 kills to super evolve or something like that. Either way, these Reapers are also build defining, sort of. This weapon for example is just overall nice damage and attack speed weapon, while this one is for Torrents build. As you level it up it gains more Torrents damage, but its base damage is very low. However, skill damage consists of Reaper damage, the weapon damage, and plus raw damage, which you get as mods. So weapon damage is not everything. When looking at Reaper weapon collection you can see almost every weapon has evolution, but not always. I did not want to spoil it for myself and didn't search for info about each weapon and its evolution, and by the way you can switch weapons at any time. Now about classes and skills, this is a bit unusual. There is Knight, Mage and Archer. Knight for example can be Distinguished Knight, which is basically perfectly balanced as all things should be. Yes, that is a quote from Avengers. Second subclass is Haphazard Champion, not sure how to pronounce that, which says press buttons, things will trigger. This is what I'm playing right now. Basically proc things that can proc another things or reproc themselves. And the third subclass is Enduring Protector. Much defense, great armor, no damage. All 3 subclasses have the same skills except for the spacebar skill, which is the class skill. And that defines the class and its passives. For example, second subclass gets Ascension skill, which is basically just a leap slam, but it also enables luck mechanic and also enables chance to proc swords and meteors. When you use skills, they gain XP, which allows you to unlock more passives to enhance those skills or the class itself. It is much simpler than it may sound, so you just want to find skills that synergize with your subclass. I am using this Cyclone ability, which has a chance to proc other things, but also helps me generate luck, which I need to proc meteors. I also get access to passive. When I trigger meteor, it has a chance to trigger another meteor, which I think can continue triggering another meteors until you fail to trigger it. There is also another passive that allows me to not lose luck, which means once I'm at 100 luck and proc meteor, I can proc another meteor without losing luck, and they also have chance to proc another meteor. So sometimes it just goes full Armageddon and these meteors do crazy damage compared to our hit damage. So I am trying to build around this. So I need faster weapons to ramp up the luck and get more procs. Other skills are shared between that base class. And some skills, by the way, also have passive effects if you have it equipped on left or right click. Essentially you get 2 skills plus 1 class skill, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 are used for ancestral skills, which you get from the not so passive skill tree. And if I want to switch build, all I have to do is switch the spacebar skill, and then go play that class to level the spacebar skill and allocate passives for that skill. You can also reset all passives without resetting the tier of each skill, but you will still have to level up the spacebar skill before you can allocate passives, unless you did that already. Maybe this is getting complicated, so here's another example. I can take this lance skill. I have plus 2 projectiles and extra repeats for lance as a passive skills. If I equip this Reaper weapon, I get plus 3 projectiles if I stand still for half a second. Then I just throw multiple training spears, which then triggers actual lance skills. So each training spear can proc another 3 additional lances, which then travel around the world and hit again. The lance skill has a long cooldown, so you would want to combine it with some other skill to alternate while on cooldown. How about the minion build? Do you want to be a minion build as a knight? Look at Grappling Hook skill and its tier 2 passive. When Grappling Hook hits enemy, you pull him back to you, put your arm over his shoulder and proceed to convince him to fight for the cause and everything that is good and green in this world. He accepts. This becomes sort of like a Spectre build from Path of Exile. I don't know if it has duration, but your mana cost ramps up with each minion, and your minions gain additional damage based on your Reaper weapon. However, from my testing, they do not proc any special things from your Reaper. And I could keep talking about weird and cool build ideas, but I don't want to make this video too long, and if you decide to play, you may want to try to figure out things on your own. One thing I am confused about is how to survive higher level of Wrath or Wrath levels. I'm stuck on Wrath 3, and if I try Wrath 4, even if my damage is fine, I get killed very easily, despite having over 40% armor and 40% elemental resistances and a couple other things that reduce damage. Maybe monster damage is a bit overtuned, or maybe I'm missing something, but I cannot figure out what. If you play this game and know more about it, let me know in the comments below. And if this game isn't your cup of coffee, I have short video about roguelite games that I really like, and few other videos about action RPG games. I will leave links in video description. For now, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.